today I'm coming to you with an original book tag. I've wanted to create my own book tag for a while, but I just didn't have the idea for it. But I'm pretty proud of what I have created. I don't know yet what I'm going to call it, but I think it's going to be like the book community book tag. And in it there are prompts based off of parts of the book community. So there's Booktube, Book Twitter, Book Blogs, Goodreads, and Bookstagram, and there are prompts that correlate with some aspects of those sites, and I'll just be recommending you guys books based off of those prompts. So I really hope you guys enjoy this one. I'm really proud of this tag that I have created. So yeah, let's get right into it. Our first prompt is Booktube. Talk about a book that involves filmmaking or video making in any way. And so I'm going to go with Love, Hate, and Other Filters by Samira, Ahmed. This book involves Maya Aziz, who's a 17-year-old who wants to go to NYU to be this filmmaker. That is what she dreams of doing in her life. But then there's what her parents want her to do, to just stay local and marry this Muslim boy that they want her to marry. And she's just really stuck between these two worlds. But then this horrific crime is perpetrated like thousands of miles away. And since the guy who did it shares the same last name as Maya, she suddenly gets put into this whole mess of the community around her that she used to call friends. Just turning against her, they just start being racist and just calling her a terrorist. And she has to try to figure out what she wants to do, what her dreams are, and how she can live in a world that doesn't want her to. And I just love this book so much. Obviously, I loved the relatable factor of it, but also how well written it was. It was such a good debut book by Samira Ahmed, and I just think it progressed so wonderfully. And while it definitely wasn't the best book in the world, I just thought the characters were so amazing, and that some of the more emotional scenes just hit really hard for me, and I really cared about these characters. And Maya was definitely not the perfect person, which just always makes the perfect character, and I just really enjoyed this book. Our next prompt is Book Twitter. Talk about a book that is really good, but is also problematic at times, because Book Twitter is just one of the best places. I've met so many of my bookish friends on Book Twitter. I have group chats. I love Twitter so much. But sometimes there is definitely a lot of drama on there. But I'm going to go with Everyday by David Levithan. This book is about a spirit named A who every day wakes up in a different body, and he has to try to adjust and figure out who this person is and try not to ruin that person's circumstances. And then the spirit just keeps going from body to body, not trying to ruin everything. But then when he's in the body of this girl's boyfriend, he suddenly falls in love with this girl. And so then whatever body he's in, he tries to track her down. He just is so in love with this girl, and it's about how can you be in love with someone when you're not a person, when you don't have a physical appearance. And it's just a really interesting book, and David Levithan definitely had a really creative and fascinating idea with this one. It was really well written, and I loved A and Rebecca's character. Was that her name? Rebecca? I don't think that was her name. Rhiannon's character. But there's one problematic chapter in here, which is why it's not an all-time favorite, and definitely go look on Goodreads for that problematic chapter. There is one of the top reviews talks about it in detail, and I just wish that the chapter wasn't in and that David Levithan did his research. But this book is still so well written. It just goes by so fast, and I still really recommend it. Our next prompt is Bookstagram. Talk about a book that has a really pretty cover, because I do not know how Bookstagrammers do what they do, but their pictures are always just so stunning. The aesthetic, just how creative they are with their pictures, it just astounds me. I can never be that creative with pictures. During the reading rush when they had those photo challenges, I was like, how can you make a book stack look aesthetic? But somehow they did it, and I am just in awe of the Bookstagram community, honestly. And so I'm going to go with the Gravity of Us cover. I just think it is so stunning. It just chose the right font for this space book. It just has that kind of feel to it. And the way that Leon and Cal are just sitting here and tinted in blue, watching a rocket soar. Oh my god, I love this cover. It represents so much of what the book is about, with them holding hands, the diversity. It just, I love this cover so much. And the fonts are amazing, the illustrations are amazing, and this cover was just so well put together. And I also absolutely love this book, and I feel like I talk about it all the time. It is about Cal, who's a social media journalist. He actually has been accepted by BuzzFeed to basically work for them, and so he's set to be the social media journalist. He already has like 500 million followers, I'm pretty sure, on this online website. But when his dad accepted to go to this NASA mission, he and his family have to move there and have to try to become the perfect American family in the eyes of the world and the social media coverage that is covering this entire mission. Cal also begins to fall in love with the son of another astronaut on the team, but while he's doing that, he also begins to suspect something is wrong with the media coverage of this mission, and he starts to speak up about it. But the question is, how much can he do without risking what his family cares most about, especially his dad, who has worked so hard to get to this place. And it is such a fun, intense book. I absolutely loved Cal and Leon's cute, adorable romance, and this book is so well written for a debut book, and I cannot wait for Phil Stamper's second book. I love this book so much, but if you want to hear my full thoughts on it, you can go watch my Romanceathon vlog. Our next prompt is book blogs. Talk about a book that isn't talked about as much as it should be. And that's because book blogs are underrated. Like, I don't think people realize like how much work it takes to make a website. Like, I have made some before, and they take a lot of work to design and make them look the way you want them to be, to help them rank in SEO, to write for them consistently and post good articles. It's just a lot of work to maintain, and I have so much respect for book bloggers. But for this one, I'm going to go with Down and Across by Arvin Ahmadi. By this time, I should have had my interview with Arvin Ahmadi, which I have not told you guys about. I hinted at having an author interview, but I've not told you guys it is Arvin Ahmadi. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. The link is right here. But yeah, I'm super excited to interview Arvin Ahmadi. Like, I met him at the Brooklyn Book Festival, and just, it is so unreal that I'm interviewing him, and he's just such an amazing guy. But this book is about Scott Ferdowski, who doesn't really like where he is in life. He can't even commit to breakfast cereal, let alone a passion in life. And so he decides to change himself to find out about this thing called grit. And so he goes to Washington, D.C. to meet this professor that teaches about grit. But while in Washington, D.C., he learns about more than just grit. He learns about life. He meets these friends that teach him a lot about who he wants to be in this world. And it's just such a charming, wise, intellectual, amazing book. I absolutely loved this story. I loved the main characters. It was such a well-written book, and there were also a lot of funny parts, but also a lot of emotional parts, and the way the cast of characters just joined and had problems but grew from them, and how much Scott learned in this book. I just loved this book so much, and I really think it is so underrated. If you like a good coming-of-age story with an amazing cast of characters and great writing, if you love a road trip, if you want to read a book that's blurs from Adam Silvera, Jasmine Warga, David Arnold, and Khaled Hosseini, just this book is so good. And the last prompt is Goodreads. Talk about a book with a lot of outdated pop culture references, or just a lot of pop culture references. And I'm going to talk about a book that I'm currently reading, and it just got so good. Like, I feel like I just read like 60 pages in like 10 minutes. I was in such a rush because so much happened, and I just had to go from page to page. And by this time, we should have already had the live show, so definitely go watch that one because I'm sure it was a lot of fun. Like, this ending, it just got it up to like 4 stars. It was a 3 before that. But that is What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli. This is a queer meet-cute about Arthur, who's coming from Milton, Georgia, to just go to New York City for the summer, and then he falls in love with Ben, who lives there, and they have this meet-cute. But when they meet at the post office, they don't really think anything's going to happen between them. I mean, they do get separated, but then maybe there is something that's going to happen, because then they get reunited. But then they can't nail a first date, or a second date, or a third date, and it feels like Arthur's putting too much into this, and Ben just doesn't care that much. And such an emotional book. I just don't like how slow it was. It is a very well written book, but my only real complaints is that it was slow, is that there's not much of a plot, but like, that's all right, because it's still thrilling enough, and that the writing isn't really distinguishable between Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. And also, like, the characters kind of merge, but I feel like they become more singular as the book goes on. But in the beginning, like 200 pages, they just feel like the same people. But they do have some defining qualities that separate them apart. Yeah, this is a really well-written book. I absolutely love the characters. Dylan is an amazing character. Samantha, Ethan, Jesse. The parents in this book are superb for a YA book, which I wish I could say for every single book I read, but unfortunately that is not the case. Alright guys, so that was the book community book tag. I wish this was longer. I just wanted to keep this one short. I I didn't want to elaborate on it too much. I hope you guys like this tag. I really enjoyed making it. I thought this was a fun little video. But I'm going to tag 2 people, Troy from Troy Reads and Rue from Rue's Reading Corner. I hope you guys enjoyed doing this one. If you want to do it, there's no pressure at all. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. Comment down below your answers to this tag, just any thoughts you have about this video. Subscribe. I post fun bookish videos every Tuesday and Saturday, and I'll see you next time with another video. Bye.